for the number of people that need it here. And really, it's in the last year with the COVID crisis going on, it's even gotten worse.
It's surprising that there are so many homeless people in this area, and there's definitely a need to get them housing. It's a problem to do it with landlords like myself that can't afford to get all these properties up to code.
There is a real demand and need for housing. I think it's across Vermont. I think it's everywhere in the world, not just here, but there definitely is here. I know that there's lots of shelters with people living in them. I know that there's people who are homeless and don't even live in a shelter.
We have an issue with appropriate housing stock in Bennington and Bennington County. Anytime we have an apartment like this one, which was empty, that we can get back to use, that seems like a critical step, you know, to help homelessness, to help everything, to help the community's economy. It's never good to have empty places.
There's a lot of need in this community for housing. There's a lot of unfortunate people that are down on their luck. And I felt bad telling people, no, I can't rent it because I need a roof, or I got lead paint, I need a boiler. I needed actually 3 boilers. That's why I've had empties all over.
There's quite a few empty and abandoned buildings that, you know, I think a lot of people have good intention to buy and maybe fix up, but there's definitely things that come up when you buy these buildings to renovate and make into homes that you wouldn't expect.
Homelessness has been a problem in our country and in our state and in our community for many years. And it was a problem that was sort of solved, never solved, but sort of resolved for different families in different ways. But when the COVID crisis hit, people living in group settings, in shelters or under bridges or in a tent community or any of those communities were at severe risk of disease. So they had to be given a place to live that was separate, that had its own bathroom and its own kitchen, so that communicative nature of the disease was minimized for these individuals. And suddenly finding adequate, safe, healthy housing for the number of people who were living on the street was very challenging. So they were instantly put into hotels and motels as a temporary solution. But it could only be temporary because it's so expensive. It's not adequate in and of itself. So with the arrival of some funds under the CARES Act, the housing organizations and the Agency for Community Development went to work trying to make a more permanent, reliable, viable housing situation for people who were homeless.
So with the CARES Act funding that was released, as it came from the federal government to the state, it was earmarked for helping and rehousing the homeless. And we were given this opportunity from the state, from Department of Housing and Community Development, with this grant to address and help vacant, blighted properties or properties that are currently in use but have code issues or health and safety issues. So this grant has allowed us to bring units online and rehouse the homeless and create an affordable, sustainable, healthy living environment using these funds and to address keeping these units affordable by rents being HUD fair market value.
My motto is that everyone deserves access to healthy, happy, beautiful homes. And I believe that people should be able to live in quality housing. And so, if it's something like a kitchen, versus a kitchenette, or, cooking on a hot stove, we want to be able to provide individuals with the full amenities so that they can live that quality lifestyle that they deserve. And that should be a basic function for everybody.
I think the emergency amongst the homeless brought everybody to attention about how to solve this problem. And then, of course, in looking for solutions, you find other problems. And one of the problems that has been made very clear to everybody is that there's something like 80,000 rental units in Vermont that need health and safety and efficiency improvements.
It definitely, that's the thing in Rutland, is there's all of these buildings, most of them, all especially in the lower income areas. All the buildings need work. Even the decent buildings and the better ones that I've purchased over the years still need a lot of work. And it's electrical systems, it's heating systems, it's ventilation and insulation, foundations caving in, egress windows, stairwells, everything in the property things haven't been brought to code over all the years, so all these things need to be done.
Like he was talking about with renovating housing, you have someone that goes in there, they trash an apartment, and there's no incentive to do anything with it. They just kind of put lipstick on a pig and then move the next person in there, and it's not a great environment for someone to live in,
When my wife and I moved here, our plan was to rent an apartment for a year and take our time to buy a place. And we were shocked at the condition of some apartments in town, that there wasn't a lot of quality places.
You have rotted, unsafe porches and handrails, and then you have lead paint, brand new replacement windows I was able to afford, and vinyl siding is cheaper to do because it's quicker and faster, and it eliminates the lead paint, safer for families and children.
We can talk about cosmetic things, we can talk about superficial things, but there are deeper issues if you pull back the layers, right? When it comes to plumbing and heating, for example, those are costly repairs. But again, we're talking about, these are basic needs. These are essential things, but they're costly. It's like, how do I afford $20,000, $30,000 for plumbing and heating?
So this was a hand-fueled coal burner at one time in its life. It's the oldest furnace I've seen.
It's the oldest one. The plumber said it's probably the oldest in the town, and he cleans all the boilers. And it's all asbestos. So,
Yeah, all the pipe is asbestos.
Too. And it's gonna be.
I mean, this is an antique. Yeah, don't play with it because they make a dust cloud of asbestos. This is all asbestos above your head too. Oh, wow. And actually, it's in really good shape.
Yeah.
It's harmless in the state that it's in.
But to replace the furnace, we need to play with it and open it up.
Because we gotta get to the pipes.
So we're gonna get Catamount here.
Plastic off the whole basement. I mean, it's a couple of days of setup and tear down, and then in a day they tear all the asbestos out.
The benefit to the landlords has just been extraordinary, because rather than, using their monthly sums to keep up with maintenance, all of a sudden they had a shot at up to $30,000 to make significant improvements to a unit and get it done quickly.
Probably our first goal was on the windows. We had done part of them, but we wouldn't do them all right now. We would get by with what's here, which drives the cost up for heating and so on. It'll make it a lot more efficient by replacing them all.
Cupboards and stuff aren't very nice in the apartments. They're way outdated, aren't enough cupboards for a family, for space-wise. So those will now be able to be upgraded and have more cupboard space and nicer cupboards.
Also our outlet fixtures, they have a new style fixture so that kids can't stuff stuff in them. So it's got a plastic trip away, so you have to actually plug a cord in. It's the only way they'll open. So that's another thing that we're going to change.
Without this program, we wouldn't have been able to put the new kitchens in. and the kitchens were very outdated. They were from the early 90s, maybe late 80s, and there was just some wear and tear to them that, you know, we couldn't quite justify pulling them out and putting that into it without a program like this.
You know, we've separated the heating systems, the electrical systems, put new kitchens in all of them, upgraded, you know, the flooring, everything's painted, we're doing siding. A lot of deferred maintenance,
Yeah.
really, and, you know, that adds up over the 20 years of the pay building these buildings.
I mean, we've done a lot of code improvements here
Oh yeah.
that are going to make it
Agreed.
a sustainable place to live for somebody.
So these buildings were apartments that weren't online, and we're bringing 6 of them online.
This unit sat vacant for more than 6 months. The whole unit was running on a 130 amp fuse threaded into a 15 amp socket. The old screw-in type fuses, they haven't been around for years. And we didn't even realize it till the whole thing went out, and we traced this down to an attic fuse box. We had to move the person out because it was a fire danger. And then when we tried to open this up to rewire it, we realized it couldn't even handle another panel to put on the system. Huge expense, so we just had to leave the unit vacant. Owner couldn't afford to do it. So this program is allowing, get rid of the gas stoves that were kind of sketchy, so to speak, and put in all new electric, whole 600 amp new panel to service all the units, and bring all the electrical up to go for the building in, and rewire this unit and bring it back online.
We were not going to enlarge the kitchen and bathroom. We had no plans to do that because I was doing the work entirely myself, and we were on a very tight budget even before the pandemic hit. And even though we knew the bathroom and kitchen were way too small to be ideal, we were going to work with it. The bathroom actually originally ended right here, which is absolutely tiny, and it was such a cramped bathroom. And there was a closet behind it that had access from another room. So we knocked out that closet to make this all bathroom space, going to make a much more functional, comfortable bathroom.
I have actually other buildings I could use some help with. I have more to the tune of 8 empty apartments that it was enabled me to do this much work, employ people that have been out of work. And you seen them at my job site the other day. Thanks, boss. Thanks, boss. They're so happy to be back to work with COVID, you know. So that's what it did for me. We're getting them done a lot quicker than what I could have. I could have struggled along the next 2-3 years doing the same amount of work I'm doing in several months.
So in just a few short months with this grant funding, we're able to bring online and bring up to code 61 units, which is across 37 buildings, and helping 18 landlords to bring these units back online across Addison County, Rutland County, and Bennington County. So we're so excited to help these communities, to rehouse the homeless, and have affordable, safe home ownership for our communities.
We see our mission as creating a community that is thriving both economically and spiritually. And our tools to do that are in our motto, all things home. We have multiple programs and systems and ways that we help people find a home or keep a home. But we want them to be in a home that provides that security. So that is what we do. And we've added a number of other ways that we help people stay in their home.
I do this work because when I was growing up, I didn't always have adequate housing. I sort of bounced around as a kid a lot. Some of the places that we lived in were not always in the best condition. And so for me, as an adult, I'm able to sort of take that and look at it and say, some kid out there is just like me, and they need access to adequate housing. And we have to do everything we can to do to help them. And it's my mission to ensure that I'm working with communities to be able to help in any way I can to give that little girl a home, a good home, a family, to make them happy, to find the best housing that they deserve, quality housing. And so it's important to me to do that.
It's been proven so many times over that when people live in decent environments, including their apartments, the view out their window, their spiritual life, their home life, their productive lives are improved. It's just human nature. If you live with beauty, you respond and you are more productive.
These are going to be great apartments. So for future tenants, this is going to be sustainable quality housing. So this is something that we hope that they can live here long term and get their life back on track. I think the environment really has a lot to do with how you wake up every morning and tackle your day. So if you're not living in a great location, then you might not have as much motivation to go find that job or assist maybe someone that you care about. If there's opportunities for people to get the money to actually renovate those apartments and create a nice sustainable place for someone to live, then I think that overall it's going to have a big impact on the community, because then we're going to have people in the community that are waking up every day and wanting to go out there and do the best that they can for that day.
This grant is just the tip of the iceberg. It's a great start, and we're so excited and happy and grateful for it, but there is plenty of work to do. Infrastructure is outdated here in Vermont, and it's something that we really need to address. If you take a look at the landscape, we need more. There needs to be more funding. We want to be able to get people to have access to healthy living.
And we're only just scratching at the surface right now on a few of them that we could do, and all these buildings could be brought up to code. And if other landlords could do the same thing, this building's going to start looking like another town, and that's what I think the city of Rutland really needs.
This is good for tenants that need affordable, clean, quality housing. It's good for landlords like my wife and I that are trying to get places on the market but are having obstacles to get there. And it's good for the local economy when we have contractors doing the work. So this is just a complete win for everyone.
For all Vermonters.
Yeah.
Quality, sustainable housing for all Vermonters.
And this program, like, we work with a lot of different people that own housing in Bennington, and to bring them onto this project and for them to see what we're able to do, I mean, it kind of is mind-blowing to them, and there's a lot of interest in what we're doing with this program from all different types of people that we work with. Yeah. And, I think that there would definitely be a lot of people that would be interested in pursuing something like this.
That building was shut down. All it was this side stairway needed a little bit of repair. Then there was a cracked sewer pipe in the basement that was spewing on the floor that would have been about $500 to fix it. Replacement windows, great shape. Lady couldn't afford to get any of the repairs done. It's gone to foreclosure. And she had no idea about a program like this. If she had, she could have easily got all that work done and had that building online. There's 5 vacant apartments there.
I look at his building and then I look across the street and there's 2 more buildings that need work and need to be brought back online to be a great building again to give to the community in that neighborhood. How important is that? So I'm hoping, with this program, I find there's ripple effects, right? When you can fix up a house or 2 on the street, the neighbors tend to get involved and fix things up. So, I'm hoping that will come out of this, and I'm already hearing that from other landlords, like, oh, I'd love to be involved with this program. I think there's this younger community that is finding that it could be profitable for us to buy units. More programs like this would be super beneficial to other landlords and future tenants that, are only going to benefit from having a nice place to live.
This is 3 inches of spray foam from the sill of the building right to the upstairs floor, right to the ground. We got all the stuff down, but this was carpet on the floors here. We pulled them up, and all these floors are nice.
So the work has just begun. The opportunity to improve other people's lives, improve our property values, our neighborhoods, to maintain our historic housing stock, all of that exists. And, we've only really touched the tip of the iceberg for what could be done.